have turned into Remote Control's latest episode. Listen in as the GCRN crew talks TV from 2000 to now, with pilot and season premiere episodes, finishing finales, and season passes as well. Now get ready to change the channel with your Remote Control as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of television. All from the Geekcast Radio Network. We are all remote controlled.
Grab that remote control because the GCRN's brand new TV podcast is here. We're calling it Remote Control. I am your host, TFG1Mike. Joining me is Doug Abel once again from Talking About My Generation. Hello, sir.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
What I've found out, folks, is when we do season passes in the future here inside, or here on Remote Control, they're going to be split up.
Yeah.
So we may do season 1 of The Blacklist, we may do season 1 of Alias, we may do season 1 of whatever. And then we'll do another season 1 of a different show and then come back and do season 2, because back to back to back, while I've enjoyed the conversation and everything else, I'm looking at it in the release order and all that, and I'm like, wow, that's too much of one thing at one time.
Yeah, and the bitch of it, too, is that we're cramming. You know, I was doing marathoning for this. And don't get me wrong, this is a show that you can marathon.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, fuck. And I still didn't finish the very last episode until last night, you know, after I got scolded. I will be honest with that. I got my ass chewed by Mike for this.
I'm like, wait a second, you didn't even... Because
I know.
That's the whole point. Well, that's the whole point here, folks, is... whatever host I'm able to have on to talk about whatever show we both like, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. The point of the season passes is that we do watch an entire season of television and then come on and talk about it. That's kind of the whole point. So it's a different way instead of talking about a series overall, every little minute aspect of a television series, we just examine one season at a time. And I figured that would allow people to, explore and expand, and varying people come on varying episodes. With Dallas here, Dallas season 2 was quite the cliffhanger until it came back.
Yeah.
Dallas season 3, which sadly is the last season, pretty much they blew the show up in our faces.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So as I've said the past 2 weeks, 2012 to 2014, TNT was the channel. 1 hour with commercials, 44 minutes without, 3 seasons, 40 episodes. The end of season 2, well, when we talked about season 2, the way season 2 ended, I was like, okay, that's a nice little wrap-up of, where, because I didn't expect them to do more with JR after season 2, because, and I don't mean JR himself, obviously, he passed away before film, or right after the filming of the 7th episode happened, but, 7th episode of season 2, I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect from season 3, if they were going to continue on JR's plan, or if, if it was going to, what it was going to do when we get to season 3. And season 3 has all these twists and turns. And folks, because we're not going to come back and talk about this show, we're going to spoil the hell out of season 3 for you. So
yes.
If you haven't seen it yet, stop the podcast, go to Netflix, and watch season 3 of the 2012 Dallas show. Casting has pretty much stayed the same. There are a couple of new players, but I mean, we've talked about these people for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. I will say, as far as the characters go, the depth of every single character was explored at from the middle of season 2 to now, and it continues to be explored. We see so many different sides of different people. We see Judith Light in a light that I never thought I would ever see her in. Oh my God.
Well, and that was kind of funny because I was watching the final episode, and my wife was in the bedroom. She comes out, and all of a sudden she sees Judith Light on, and she goes, "Oh my God, she's on here!" And I'm like, "Yes," and she's a ruthless son of a bitch. And she goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, you need to sit down and watch this at some point in time. Not tonight because I got to finish this up, but you got to sit down and watch this and see it." And just, my God, I can't believe how nasty she was. All the shit that she's been involved in, the coke ring, dealing with the cartel, boom.
I think the coke ring is probably what had everyone really, really surprised.
Yeah.
Because you don't see elderly men or women, specifically elderly women, you don't see them snort a line of coke and say, "Mama like."
Yeah.
After, it's like, oh my God. And Judith Light, for as bad as the character of Judith Ryland is, she pretty much stepped in and took over. Not really, she'll never replace him, but she pretty much stepped up and filled JR's shoes for season 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she was in every little nook and cranny. The only thing that she wasn't in was the stuff going on with Nicolas.
Nicolas.
And I say that in the vein of Aunt Catherine from from Thin Man. Come in, Nicolas. Hello, Nora. It's like, oh my God. Oh God, that's what we ought to do at some point on Talking. We ought to talk Thin Man movies. I love them. Anyway, Dallas, people, season 3. Main story plots here. Elena and Christopher break up. Christopher finally has closure on his mother. She is dead. Pamela Barnes Ewing, whatever you want to call her, she is dead. She's not coming on the show. Get over it, people.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have her in some sort of dream sequence or something, but Christopher is a character. He's been a character like this for 30, 40 years now, where everyone's always "Oh, you're not a true Ewing, you're adopted," and this, that, and the other thing, and everything else. Well, he was adopted.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But it's one of those things where when they had him go the route that he went after his mother died and looking for closure and looking for this, that, I'm glad the kid got closure. I think that's great. I don't think they should have drug out the whole Pamela thing longer than they did, because just to try to see if they could get her on the show, that's just so stupid and lame, and I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Christopher, in the middle of season 2 and somewhat here in season 3, when it came to his mom and the family and all that stuff, he kind of turned into a whiny little bitch for a few episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that righted itself. So you have him and Elena broken up. You have him starting this whole new relationship with Heather. I was like, wait a second, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? Because I guess it kind of fits into what the classic Dallas series was, because you always had to have, no matter what was going on with J.R. Bobby and the feud with Cliff and all that and whatever, no matter what was going on with that or what was going on with Sue Ellen or what was going on with Lucy or whatever, in the classic show, you always had to have at least 1 or 2 episodes per season that focused on the ranch hands, the people you don't normally see, and have some sort of ranch hand throwdown or something or other. And that's what I think that the storyline between Christopher, oh God, what was his name?
All I can think is just Jesse Metcalf. I mean, that's...
No. Yeah, Christopher, Heather, and the ranch hand. What the hell's the damn ranch hand's name? I can't remember off the top of my head, folks. So you got that. I liked that storyline. I thought that was a nice little innocent thing. There wasn't really anything to... I mean, it obviously ended up being complicated because of her having a child and this, that, and the other thing and everything else. But at first, when they first started showing them as quote-unquote dating, I liked that because it didn't seem as complicated as Christopher's relationship with Elena usually is.
Yeah.
So I like that about it. You have John Ross trying to live up and fill JR's belt buckle because he is married to Pamela. He's stooping Emma. And
that green lingerie.
Yeah, I told you about that off air. I knew that was going to come back and bite us in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And just the reaction, though. Just the fact that she went into shock and, oh, my God. I remember watching that episode live. I was like, holy crap, what's going to happen next week? I'll give Dallas Season 3 this. It really did live up to expectations. It really did succeed even without JR.
Yeah.
And it really was one of those things where, damn, I wish we had a 4th season.
Yeah.
So go ahead. As you're watching through this, what were you thinking as far as everything that happened?
Well, a lot of it I thought was just kind of like John. He was an ass. I'm going to say that right out. I mean, he was manipulating. He was becoming JR, and everybody whining about him. They're all saying, "You're just like your daddy." Everybody was saying that, and you kind of start to see that. Yeah, he's trying to be somebody else, but he's falling into his dad's footsteps. Even when he goes out and he tries to rescue Emma, which I still am not sure. Part of it, I guess, was me being half in, half out. I'm not sure why he was going after Emma, other than, it was Emma and he was sleeping with her. But it was kind of interesting to see how that played out, and to see that he really is becoming worse than his father. That just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, he's made his bed and he's lying in it in a big heaping pile of cow dung because holy crap.
Yeah. That and Pamela having the overdose, I was kind of like, oh shit. Well, I kind of saw that coming. I mean, I didn't want to see it, but obviously the fact that it did come up, it was like, huh. And jeez, I don't know if I want to spoil this just yet. No, I'm going to hold off.
Well, and then you get the whole thing with the cartel and the kidnapping and the killing of Drew and all this and all that. And
and Elena going down to Mexico, and we find out who she was visiting.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, shit, that was Joaquin.
Yep.
A.K.A. Nicolas. It was like, what the hell?
Yep. And the whole cartel thing ended up, and I don't think we ever got a real answer to this, but the whole cartel thing ended up where they kidnapped Anne and Emma. Bobby has to... There's this whole other side plot where Bobby has to become the railroad commissioner, and in order to get the women free, and he picks Anne, Emma is left there, so John Ross feels the need to save Emma. We're not sure during the time of Emma's capture if she was raped or not.
Yeah, I
wish they would have given us an answer either way, instead of just leaving it up to the imagination, because I think that's just, when it comes to rape, I think that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, let us know whether it happened or it didn't happen. Even if you don't come out and say it, like if there's a scream or something off camera that's just audio, just let us know some sort of inference whether it happened or not.
Yeah. It was good that they kind of let our minds go down that path, but at the same time, it's like, shit, really? Just say it. Yes or no. That's all we wanted.
So we have the whole cartel thing. We have Nicolas trying to protect Elena, which he's really not, because he's pretty much trying to, quite literally, get her pregnant. Because, like...
Yeah?
I remember that scene with the diaphragm. It was like, oh my god, no, he did not.
I saw that and I'm like, what the fuck is he... what? No.
Yeah, that was creepy as all hell. What else did you like, or is there anything you didn't like about season 3? Anything you wish they'd changed?
Not really. I mean, it was... There's some interesting stuff which ties into the season finale with them going through with, seeing Christopher driving the Tesla. I thought that was kind of a nice touch. The very end, how that happened... Jesus, do I really want to spoil this just yet? No. You know what? I'll save that comment for later. Sorry. But, I mean, for the most part, I thought it was pretty good. It was a little hokey when John Ross is down, trying to save Emma from the Mexican cartel, and he's being given the lighter so that they can track him, and he uses that to signal, come in and shoot them. I thought that was a little hokey. I'm like, that probably could have been changed just a little bit. They should have burst in without him signaling, but, that's just my little nitpicking.
Yeah. For me, I don't think there's anything they could have changed. I think at this point, it's a year after the show ended at this point, and I think really I wanted I think everybody that watched this show, that enjoyed this show, wanted a 4th season out of it. Because that season finale was just amazing.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about that, since I'm like dying and trying not to spoil shit.
Go ahead.
So.
No, I said we were going to spoil it, so.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me talk about that Tesla first off. I'm watching it. You see Elena in the bathroom, and they've just hinted about 8 or 9 months that she's going to be coming back to Nicolas.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that, and then they show her in the bathroom. I'm like, shit, she's got morning sickness. Before they even look at the pregnancy test, and we find out that it's positive, I was like, Jesus. I knew that was coming. I could see that. Then she walks outside to go see Christopher. This is what bothers me, okay? He's sitting in a fucking Tesla. The guy bombs it. There's a guy sitting out in the truck. He dials the bomb and sets it off. And the car explodes in a flurry of gasoline explosion. I mean, those flames were gasoline caused.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking electric car. There's no fucking gasoline. Sorry.
Well, they had to find some way for it. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is an electric car.
That was my one big bitch about that. I watched that and I just kind of went, what? Wow. Okay, fine, whatever.
for me, the season finale was amazing. There were so many points where I thought they would have ended it. I mean, I know it's a 42-minute show, but I don't know. There's just certain shows and certain movies that it seems like it's at a certain calm point, like everything's okay, and then boom, the next thing happens. The next, the other shoe drops, and the ending to this, I remember watching this the series finale when it was live, and as soon as it was done, I went online to see if it had gotten picked up, and sadly, it didn't. And they can cite budget and whatever else and costs and all this and all that and everything else, but television studios today, television companies, production companies, Hollywood at large, when it comes to television, there's a lot of people that put a lot more money into a lot more shows than Dallas. Okay, sure, they have the fancy cars, they have South Fork. I'm sure the city of Dallas probably charges them to shoot on location in the city or something. I don't know, but it's one of those things where,
yeah, it's not $2.5 million per episode for a fucking animated series that went nowhere. Father of the Bride,
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that was NBC and this is TNT.
Yeah.
I wish it would have come back, because I have because before we got on air here, folks, I had told Doug what my ultimate theory was as far as how they could bring Christopher back alive, and obviously that's not going to happen, but if they had brought it back, my theory was it would all be a dream sequence, and Elena would wake up, she'd walk into the bathroom, and he'd turn around and be in the shower.
A la Bobby Ross.
Yeah, a la Bobby Ewing, because it's one of those things where this show, if you really examine Dallas, the 2012 series from TNT, in various ways, it didn't copy, but it mimicked and updated the old storylines. You had the Who Shot JR. You had the whole Ewing-Barnes feud. You had all these other side deals that JR would normally be known to be doing. I don't know how... It's been a very long time, folks, since I've seen the classic Dallas series. I don't know, I think the whole aspect of Judith and the brothel and all that stuff, I think that was kind of new for the series. I don't remember too many whorehouses in the old show. I'm sure they were there, but I just don't remember them.
Well, if we start thinking about whorehouses, we're going to start thinking about Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and that's not where we want to go.
Good Lord, no, that's not where... I'm just saying, that was another added thing they did here. And the other thing that they had done was they brought in the McKays again, which is interesting.
Yeah.
They brought in Tracy and Hunter McKay and all this and all that, and I like that angle. I thought that was an interesting way of seeing who could fight to buy the shares of Ewing Global. I wish Cliff had a better send-off.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, folks, JR is gone. He's gone. And sure, Judith did an amazing job, kind of filling the villain shoes here in season 3, but let's face it, if it's not JR, it's Cliff. Cliff has always been the ultimate antithesis to the Ewings and the ultimate villain to them. And just having him in jail the whole time, I don't know. I've never been one to root for the Barneses in the feud, but with no more JR and with the way that the show was going, I almost wish Cliff had found a way to rise up and find another way to screw with the Ewings.
Yeah. So I have to ask this. I mean,
yes.
What were your thoughts on Bum? do you get the feeling like he was just the slimy little snaky yes man for everything that JR wanted done? Because I noticed that throughout the season with him and John Ross, that he was kind of acting as John Ross's gopher.
Mm-hmm. I love Bum. I thought Bum was an amazing character that they brought in, because JR is going to need somebody. I mean, JR will absolutely. JR in his old age now at this point in the context of the show, not Larry himself, but in the context of the show, J.R. Ewing is going to need a right-hand man. And, the way they wrote the story in this is Bum has been cleaning up JR's messes for 30 years. And, I don't remember Bum from the old show. I don't think a character like him was there. But I like that they added that in. And I like how instead of it being Kristen or whoever that shot him, I really, as morbid as this sounds, folks, I really like the whole twist of fate of that his best friend shot him because he asked him to. I thought that was great storytelling.
Yeah, that just it broke my heart to see it, but at the same time,
yeah, absolutely.
Bum knew that he only had a couple of days, and
that's the thing. JR was dying, so why not make his death matter? Instead of just him being succumbed to cancer, why not make JR's death matter, set Barnes up, and bing bam boom, the Ewings win the feud, and then we can move on from there.
It was a pretty good way, and I mean, even the whole thing that I started seeing, the whole story that I started seeing throughout this season was JR was still manipulating from the grave, even though even though John Ross was kind of trying to step in and be JR.
Mm-hmm.
JR was still adding little twists at the very end and little things that was coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
And
the other reason why I wanted a season 4 to come in more so than the whole Bobby or the whole Christopher angle was because of the other bombshell that was dropped.
The last thing that was said on the show? Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you very much for not telling me about that sooner.
I completely forgot about it, honestly.
Jesus.
And what he was talking about, folks, is that apparently John Ross has a illegitimate sister. Oh, man. I so want to know what the writers were working on for season 4. If there would have been this is one of those shows, folks, that it had a satisfying yet what the fuck kind of ending with the whole explosion of the Christopher's car. It made you want to come back for more, but at the same time, sadly, we're probably never going to get a conclusion or an explanation to the fact that JR had an illegitimate daughter. But honestly, when I was giving you little hints and stuff, I completely forgot about that aspect of the episode.
Yeah, that was kind of. I looked at that. I'm like, what
Wait, what? Yeah.
God damn it! Why does it have to end now?
Absolutely.
Just I was so pissed off about that. I mean, and I guess I'm pissed off in a good way because I was like, fuck, I want more of this. What? Why can't we get more? And damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just it just so sucks that the show got canceled. It really does.
It would be fitting if they did do a TV movie,
mm-hmm.
and they go through the TV movie, a 2-hour thing where they kind of just close up some of these ends. We get to meet the illegitimate daughter, and then they pull, they pull the Bobby Ewing nonsense of, it was all a dream. But the question at that point lies, how far back do you want to make this a dream?
Yeah, true.
Obviously I would say that JR has to stay dead. John Ross has to be trying to step in to fill his father's shoes. Bum has to have killed him. You can't really leave anything more than that. Maybe South Fork not burning down, or portions of the ranch not burning all the way down to the foundation. I thought that was kind of a nice touch as to where they were leaving the end of the season, and that had they left it with, we need to rebuild, and then South Fork will be back. Good God, I'm slipping. South Fork, not South Park. South Fork.
Yes.
If they had left it at that, as we will be back and the South will rise again type of thing, I would have been okay with that. I would have liked that, and that would have been a nice fitting end. But to have this, oh, I have a sister bit, and to have Christopher get blown the fuck up in his car, oh, damn you, writers. Damn it.
It was a satisfying end to the series as far as the overall episode goes, as far as, cleaning up all the loose ends. At the same time, they still left us on a cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
And damn if it wasn't one of the best cliffhangers in the 21st century here in television. Because you got to think, I mean, that cliffhanger, how many times have people exploded in cars in Dallas before in the classic series? I mean, that's just something they do, regardless if they're electric or not.
Yeah.
There
was one nice twist at the very end there that I did like with Judith Ryland.
Yeah.
Where she becomes the new Texas Railroad Commissioner.
Yeah, that was...
and the look on Bobby's face was like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
No. And he's like, He looks at John Ross, you do realize that making a deal with the devil isn't always the best thing. And John Ross is like, when he says that, he looks at him and he goes, everybody keeps comparing me to my father, JR.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not JR.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worse.
Yeah.
And I saw that and was just like, yep, here we come, And for him to leave it on that with Bobby, that was pretty much the final end of that. With him and Bobby is, I'm going to be more of a jackass than he is, and more evil and more conniving.
Yeah.
And for us not to have anything more of the story on that, that pissed me off.
It was really, really well done. It really, really was. They planted seeds for a potential future that we'll never get. At the same time, it was a satisfying ending. Season 3 overall, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Let's see here. I think we are going to go ahead and give a rating for Season 3 and then the series overall. For Season 3, I'll give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. What about you?
About the same, just because of the cliffhanger ending, but that's my only niggling point on it.
Right. And the series overall, what would you rate it, 0 to 5?
Probably 4.5, just because there were a couple of slow spots that I thought that could have been left out, but they weren't critical to the overall story, but they were still good. So it's we'll leave it at that.
I think I'm going to give it an overall 4 out of 5. There, as you said, there were a few. I don't even want to call them nitpicks, but there were a few things that bugged me about certain points in storylines and stuff like that. I think after a while, I got tired of the whole Christopher woe is me attitude that he had. I think that got tiring, so we're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some ads and some other stuff, and we'll come back to close the show after this.
Now for a behind-the-scenes look at Geekcast Radio Network's newest show, Talking in Circles.
So, Chuck, Greg, what are you guys thinking for this week's show?
Well, Dan, how about we just talk about the things that we've read or watched this week?
We do reviews like that every week, Chuck. How about a game like Fact or Fiction or The Power of Names?
Those are great, and we're always coming up with new ideas for games. And how about some top 5s? You know how I love my top 5s.
What about tournament-style brackets, or sequel, reboot, and destroy, who will win in a fight, taking too far, crazy but true news, or...
Yes, it appears we have lots of things to work on.
Listen to Talking in Circles, taking timeless topics in new directions. Every Tuesday on iTunes or geekcastradio.com, the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, Dan, who's the guy with the creepy voice?
Kid? Yes? Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film, Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG1Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth in Beyond the Night, only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kid?
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
Alright, folks, we're going to exit stage left here in Remote Control's Season Pass for Dallas Season 3. Coming up on Remote Control, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not sure what we have coming up for the finishing finales, which is us talking about the fall shows that we talked about in the pilot premieres. I'm pretty sure there'll be a Gotham episode. I'm pretty sure there'll be a Flash and an Arrow episode or something like that. Pretty sure Scorpion and a couple other things. After that, there might be a few season passes mixed in, but probably starting in April or May, we're going to start the regular numbered episodes of Remote Control, and the first, I think, 11 episodes of the podcast that are actually episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be our broadcast network spotlight, where each episode is going to focus on one of the original networks. So we've got NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS, and I know Fox wasn't really an original network, but they're the main broadcast networks. So ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and then the CW, which was formerly UPN and WB, so we're going to be doing that. As I said, we're going to have season passes mixed in of various shows. You'll just have to tune in and see. We will be doing more season passes for Arrow. We will have a season pass for Flash for season 1. So those will be coming. I just don't know when. It honestly depends on when the seasons end. Because that's the thing, like television these days, even broadcast television, it really depends. Because everything's gone to this, fall, spring kind of thing. And sometimes it's, fall finale and spring finale, and you just never know. Like, I won't know until I find out when the last episode is of whatever season we're on. So
Yeah.
I am actually concurrently watching Arrow as season 3 goes on television.
Please tell me you've been watching Flash.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a given.
Okay.
I love Flash. No. The thing with Arrow, folks, I know myself, Steve Megatron, and Chuck from Talking in Circles, I should say. We did the first 2 season passes for Arrow for season 1, season 2, and people had commented on the season 2 episode asking if we were going to do a season 3 season pass. We will. Like I said, I just don't know when. I am watching Arrow season 3, and I like it, but after watching Flash, I like the brightness and the fun that Flash has. And Flash does have some dark moments as well, but honestly, after watching Flash, Arrow is too damn dark.
Okay, I thought I was the only one who thought that, so...
No, Arrow is... Like, I like the characters in Arrow. I love Felicity. I love, Diggle and Arrow and all this and all that, and I am caught up on it. Like I said, I am watching it as it airs now, but I just don't have the enthusiasm I had about the show when I watched season 1 and season 2. Because I just don't know where the hell it's going. Because I honestly think Arrow at this point has become, hey, this is the dumping ground for everything DC. Let's dump it all in here. Let's put in shitty-ass Brandon Routh Superman as Adam and find a way to get him his own damn TV show. As just the way I feel. Whereas, Flash came in And I'm not saying that the storylines to bring in the Flash or bring in Atom are bad. I'm just saying the whole concept of using Arrow as a dumping ground. I mean, the Flash thing was great. It launched it off, and it did a great thing with it. I thought it was great. But the whole thing with Atom, I'll say this: Brandon Routh is a better Ray Palmer than he was Clark Kent. So there is that.
I haven't seen any of the episodes yet, but I was kind of like, okay, please tell me he's not this bad father, absentee father of a superhero child.
I think the difference is it's 9 years since Superman Returns. So Routh is obviously aged in 9 years. He doesn't look as young as he did, obviously, when he did Superman Returns. And it's a completely different character, completely different set. I had to even find out that I honestly didn't even recognize him. Didn't even register to me. Maybe it's because I just cannot stand his version of Superman. But so all of that will be coming up here inside Remote Control. We hope everyone continues to listen in as we bring you current TV topics and other things. What have you got going on over at Talking About My Generation, sir?
Well, we're in the middle of Failed Franchises February. We're actually getting ready to do... we will be recording later this week an episode for basically franchises that really should have gone on, in a sense that they had failures afterwards, or they had failures before they even really got out the door. So we're looking forward to that. Things like Clerks, Land of the Lost, Wild Wild West. So we've got those things coming up. We've got stuff to talk about. Look for us over there. Go ahead and visit us on mygenerationpodcast.com and tell us what you think.
Yep, absolutely. So, until next time, we will all be fighting over the remote control.
You have turned into Remote Control's latest episode. Listen in as the GCRN crew talks TV from 2000 to now, with pilot and season premiere episodes, finishing finales, and season passes as well. Now get ready to change the channel with your remote control as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of television. All from the Geekcast Radio Network, we are all remote controlled.